So watch me transform this beauty from start to finish. If this is what you would like to see, keep on watching. So please do not forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. So first thing first, I'm going to be using my wipe to clean up the face in order to remove dirt and oil on the face. Then I went ahead using my green tea spray to hydrate her skin, to give the skin a little bit of hydration, after which I dried it up using my fan. Then I went ahead to moisturize the face with my Cetaphil moisturizer. So it's important to moisturize your face whether you have oily or dry skin. It's very important. So moisturizer before primer. So after moisturizing the face, you want to let it absorb into the skin. So make sure every product you apply during skin prep dries up before moving on to the next product. After that, I'm going to be using my Kiss Beauty primer to prime the face. This is going to help give the makeup a very good base to sit on. So after that, I'm going to be using my fan to dry it so that it will sit properly into the skin. So I went ahead using my classic mattifying primer on her T-zone area, which is the oily areas on her face. So this mattifying primer is going to help reduce oil from coming out. So I went back using my spray to lock in the skin prep. After that, I'm going to let it dry. So next, I'm going to be using this Zaron hydrating lip balm on her lip to moisturize her lip. So after moisturizing the lip, I'm going to be using my orange corrector to cover up the dark spots on her face. So after covering the dark spots, next I'm going to be applying foundation. I'm going to be using my L'Oreal True Match foundation in the shade 6. So I'm just gonna use my flat brush to apply before blending. So after blending in the foundation, I'm going to be locking it up with my Kiss Beauty spray. This will help the foundation to stay intact. Then I allowed it to dry before contouring. I'm going to be using my L'Oreal foundation in the shade C7 to contour her face. So if you want to contour the face, it's best to use a shade that is 2 to 3 shades darker than the skin to contour the face. So it's important to contour the face because it helps to make certain areas look slimmer and also add depth and dimension to others. So moving on to cream blush, I'm going to be mixing these 2 shades of color from my Blossom lip palette and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. After that, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend. So after applying cream blush, next is to highlight her face. I'm going to be using my Milani concealer in the shade 145 to highlight her face. So after highlighting the face, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend the concealer on the highlighted area. So while highlighting the face, it's best to use concealer that is 2 to 3 shades lighter on the skin to highlight the face. And make sure you blend very well to avoid creasing. So after blending in the concealer, next is to contour the nose. I'm going to be using the same shade I used in contouring the face to contour the nose. So after applying it to my flat brush, I'm going to be using my beauty sponge to blend to avoid harsh lines. So after blending, next is to set the concealer on the highlighted area using my Merak setting powder in the shade ginger. But before setting, I went back using my beauty sponge to blend the areas underneath the eyes to avoid creasing. So after blending the areas underneath the eyes, next I'm going to be setting with my beauty sponge. So while setting, do not pack too much setting powder. Take it one step at a time. If you pack too much setting powder, you end up having a patchy look. So make sure you blend properly before moving on to the other side. So after setting the concealer on the highlighted area, next is to set the rest of her face. I'm going to be mixing these 2 shades from my Becharm powder palette to set the rest of the face. So if you want to set the rest of your face, make sure you use the exact shade of your skin color to set the rest of the face. Do not use a shade lighter or darker. Make sure it's your exact skin shade. So after setting the rest of the face, I'm going to be doing low light contouring, which is dry contouring. I'm going to be using this shade from the same powder palette to set the cream contour I applied earlier. So next I'm going to be using the same shade to contour the nose.
Yeah, I'm about to fade away, cause every time I wake up I feel like it's Monday. Something's going wrong with all the chemicals up in my brain. All of a sudden I don't look at anything.
So next I'm going to be applying this super stick powder on the areas I highlighted just to give it more coverage. So I'm going to be listing all the products that I used in creating this look in my description box.
I never really asked to be brought into this place. You wanna love me? Well then baby I have a taste. All the highs and the lows, no you'll never be.
So after that I'm going to be using my powder brush to blend everything together. So moving on to powder blush, I'm going to be using my veebeauty blush palette. I'm just going to mix these three shades of blush and apply it above her cheekbone and a little bit on the tip of her nose. After blending it, I'm going to be using my setting sprays to set the face. This would help to reduce the powder effect on her face and also help every product that I applied to sit properly into the skin. Then after that, I'm going to be drying it using my fan. So next, I'm going to be baking the face with the same setting powder I used in setting the face to bake the face. So moving on to the brows, I'm going to be using my spoolie brush to brush her brows first. Then I went ahead using my brow tone to lay the brows nicely. So next is to outline her brows. I'm going to be using my Karite gel liner and my angled brush to draw the outline following the shape of her brows. So after drawing the brows, I'm going to be highlighting the brows with the same concealer I used in highlighting. So I'm going to be blending the concealer immediately after applying it so that it doesn't get dry and look tacky. So after that, I did the other brows following the same method. So next is to highlight the top of the brows. I'm going to be using the same shade of foundation I used on the face to highlight the top of the brows. So if you use the same concealer used underneath the brows, if you use it on top of the brows, it will look very light and it won't look good in the eyes. So try to use your foundation shade to highlight the top of the brows. So after highlighting the top of the brows, next is to set the concealer. I'm going to be mixing these two shades from the same powder palette to set the concealer. So after that, moving on to eyeshadow. Firstly, I'm going to be using my Carrot gel liner in the brown shade as my eyeshadow base. You can make use of your eyeshadow primer, but today I'm going to be using this gel liner as my base. So the reason why I'm using this gel liner as my eyeshadow base is because I want to create this brown smoky look. So this gel liner is going to help the eye look to pop very well lately. So when you apply, make sure you blend immediately. If you blend immediately, it won't dry. If you let it dry, blending will be an issue. So blend after applying. So next I'm going to be using this calic chic eyeshadow palette. I'm just going to take this shade here to blend out the eyeshadow. So next I'm going to be adding this dark brown on her lid to blend everything out so there won't be any demarcation. So next I'm going to be using this powder shade to blend out the eyeshadow. Then after that, I'm going to be adding some setting powder on the outer corner of her lids to define the lid. So next, I'm going to be using my Blossom Eyeshadow palette. I'm just going to take this shade here and apply it on the inner corner of her lid. So after that, I'm going to be using my blending brush to blend. So next is to line her upper and lower lash line. I'm going to be using my Carrot gel liner and my angled brush to line her upper lash line. So next I'm going to be using this white pencil on her waterline. So next I'm going to be using my Zaron mascara to prep her natural lashes in order to give it volume. So I added a little bit of the gel liner on her waterline. So I went back applying blush on her cheekbone. So after that, I'm going to be wearing her these lashes from Chic Lashes. So moving on to the lip, I'm going to be using this brown shade from my Blossom lip palette to outline her lip. After that, I'm going to be using my blending brush to blend. So next, I'm going to be adding this nude color in the middle just to brighten up the lip. Then I went ahead adding a little bit of this yellow color. Honestly, I wanted to leave the lip like this, but I don't know what came over me. I went ahead applying this white color just to brighten it up. So next I'm going to be adding this brown color underneath her water. After that, I added some gloss on her lip. So next I'm going to be applying some mascara on her lower lashes. So after that, I'm going to be using this powder to dust off the excess powder on her face and also blend the highlighted area properly. So after that, I'm going to be setting the face with my Keys Beauty Spray. So after setting, next thing is to dry using my fan. You need to let it dry properly. So after drying it, I'm going to be putting some highlighters. I'm going to be using my Maivels Glow Dust to highlight her face. This would help the face to glow. So next I'm going to be using my TM Essential Always Glow on her face. I'm just going to apply it on the places I highlighted just to make the face glow. After that, allow it to absorb into the skin. Then lastly, I'm going to be setting the face. After setting the face, I'm going to let it dry properly into the skin. And this is the finished look, guys. I hope you all enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up, like, comment, share and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye guys.